Hello everyone, I'm Dr.Daisy Thangammal, Assistant Professor in History, PG and Research Department of History, Nirmala College for Women, Coimbatore. In this module, we will see about the Directive Principles of State Policy. So first we will see a small introduction to the Directive Principles of State Policy. Then we'll see the classification. Then third, we'll see the nature of Directive Principles, and finally the amendments. The Constitution of India, it aims to establish not only political democracy but also socio-economic justice to the people to establish a welfare state. With this in mind, our Constitution lays down principles, guidelines in Part 4. These provisions are known as the Directive Principles of State Policy. Next to fundamental rights, the Directive Principles, they are given in the Constitution. And the idea of Directive Principles of State Policy have been taken from the Irish Republic. Now we'll see about democracy. So Directive Principles of State Policy, they are an instrument of instructions mentioned in the Government of India Act of 1935. They seek to establish economic and social democracy in the country. The Directive Principles are ideals which are not legally enforceable by the court for their violation. Now we'll see about the difference between Directive Principles of State Policy and the fundamental rights. The fundamental rights and the Directive Principles, they are the cornerstone of the Indian Constitution, so together they make the Indian democracy successful. Fundamental rights, they are justiciable in nature, and the Directive Principles are non-justiciable in nature. Fundamental rights are individualistic in nature, while the Directive Principles, they trend more towards collectivism. Fundamental rights uphold the principle of political democracy, while the Directive Principles stand for economic and social democracy. Fundamental rights can be suspended during national emergency, while the Directive Principles cannot be suspended under any kind of emergency. If any law contradicts any fundamental right, the law can be declared null and void. But it cannot be declared null and void when it comes to the Directive Principles of State Policy. The fundamental rights are negative in nature, while the Directive Principle, they are positive in nature. The fundamental rights are universally applicable to all the citizens of India, particularly applicable to the aliens in India. But the Directive Principles, they are applicable both to citizens as well as to the aliens. Now the classification of principles. The Directive Principles are classified on the basis of their ideological source and objectives. The first one is economic and social principles, Gandhian principles, principles and policies relating to international peace and security, and the last we have miscellaneous. First we'll see the economic and social principles. Providing adequate livelihood for men and women, reorganizing economic system to avoid concentration of wealth in few hands, securing equal pay for the equal work for men and women, securing right employment and healthy work conditions, guarding the children against exploitation and moral degradation, making effective provisions for securing the right to work, education and public assistance in case of unemployment, old age, sickness and disablement. Making provisions for securing just and humane conditions of work, taking steps to secure participation of workers in the management of undertaking, etc. Promoting education and economic interest of working section of the people, especially when it comes to the SC and ST. securing for all the workers reasonable leisure and cultural opportunities, making efforts to raise the standard of living and public health, providing early childhood care and education to all the children until they complete the age of 6 years. Then about the Gandhian principles: organize village panchayats, prohibit intoxicating drinks and drugs that are injurious to health, preserve and improve the breeds of cattle and any kind of animals, promote cotton industries in the rural areas. Principles and policies relating to international peace and security. International peace and security. Maintain just and honorable relations between nations. Foster respect for international laws and treaty obligations. Encourage settlements of international dispute by mutual agreement. So the last one is a miscellaneous. To secure all the Indians a uniform civil code, to protect historical monuments, to save environment from pollution and protect wildlife, to make arrangement for disbursement of free legal justice through suitable legislation. Amendments in the Directive Principles of State Policy. So the new Directive Principles of State Policy, they were added by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment through the 1976 Act. So to the existing one, and one more was amended. According to Article 39, to secure opportunities for a healthy development of children. Article 39A, to promote equal justice and to provide free legal aid to the poor. Article 43A, to take steps to secure participation of workers in the management of industries. Article 48A, to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forest and wildlife. The 44th Amendment of the 1978 Act, according to that, one more directive principle was added, which requires the state to minimize inequalities in income, status, facilities and opportunities. According to 86th Amendment Act of 2002, it changed the subject matter of Article 45 and it made education compulsory from the age of 6 to 14 years through Article 21A. To conclude, the Directive Principles lay stress on universalization of education, abolition of child labor, and improvement of status of women. The courts have been laying stress on the implementation of Directive Principles. Rights and duties are two sides of the same coin in the interest of the well-being and progress of the society. Rights and duties must be adhered equally by all. I hope this video would have given you a little insight about Directive Principles of State Policy. Thank you for watching.